I clicked around in YouTube and saw about 495 reviews on the Casio MDV 1061 Alpha 1 dive watch. All right, maybe not 495, but I don't know, 426? They're everywhere. I've drug my feet on this WRV because I saw that about a year ago. I was like, well, there's a ton of reviews out there, lots of information, good information actually on the MDV 106. And do I really need to do a WRV on this? I've shown it in multiple other videos for out of genre mini reviews, whether it's a knife review, gun review here in the Nut and Fancy project. And I think from those, a lot of TMPers did buy this super affordable, super awesome dive watch. This is what it looks like in its stock configuration. This is what it looked like when I bought it in 2016 for 40 bucks. The MDV 1061 Alpha 1. Outstanding high value Casio analog dive watch. Here's a tabletop review, but there's more. I'm not just going to give you the 106 review. I'm also going to roll into it a Casio MTD 1082. Don't worry about the numbers. I'll remind you. D is in Delta 2 Alpha Victor. Wow, that's a lot. I know. And then also a Casio Edifice EFM 100D 1 Alpha 4 Victor behind the glass there. It's going to be a 3-for-1 watch review. No promises as to the length of it. It will be entertaining, I assure you, and hopefully informative to guide or reinforce your decisions on buying. Chances are several of you clicking on this video have these watches already. You should. They're super affordable. By the way, I did say this is a stock configuration, right? Why would I intro with that? I'm so glad actually I waited on this review, because had I done it like 2 years ago, it wouldn't have been as good as it's going to be right now. Because now I'm a watch programmer. I will change the looks of my watches to suit my own taste. No apologies, just makes me happy. You're going to see all 3 of these watches having undergone the Nut and Fancy modification, i.e. programming process. And I think they are about 200% better having gone through that process. You may differ, but I'm wearing them, you ain't. So I mod the watches to make me happy. And actually, I've done about 120 watches, maybe even more at this stage, both my own, other people's watches. I'm fairly accomplished at it. I'm always learning. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've destroyed several watches, but dang, do I know watches now. I know auto movements, quartz movements. I've taken apart many, many brands, and it really gives me a better understanding of watches, how they're put together, and also a real comprehension of their value. Because when I take apart a $450 quartz watch and I compare it against a $25 Chinese quartz watch, and I really don't see that much difference, then once again, I'm put to think about value. And that's my mission statement here with everything I do in TMP. Value. Doesn't mean it's inexpensive. That is not what value means. Value means you're getting a lot for your money, whatever that price is paid. And for these Casio watches, all 3 represent, I think, tremendous value. So the first one is the MDV 1061 Alpha 1. We'll look at that. Then the 1082, then the EFM 100D. And they'll go up in price. And all these prices are subject to change, because watches are commodities, and when they discontinue, the 106 hasn't been discontinued, but if it were to be discontinued, the price would go up. Okay, let's remind ourselves, this is what it looked like in its stock configuration. Completely adequate, very serviceable, nothing wrong with the hands, nothing wrong with the seconds hand. 44 millimeters in diameter, 12 millimeters in thickness, 49 millimeters lug to lug, and I believe taking a 22 millimeter strap. So this is how I transformed this watch. Ready? Dun, da, da! Boom. Looks about the same, nothing? Not really, because you're looking at a screenshot, and what you can't tell is I have actually, did I tape or paint these hands? I think I painted them. So they are now matte white. There is no shininess in the hands, which I generally detest. Again, no apologies. If your taste is different, I totally respect that. But I generally do not like shininess of any kind in my hands. I either want a monochromatic presentation, high contrast, and so I've program this MDV 106 1 Alpha 1. This will be unlike any review on it you've ever seen because it is programmed. So let me go over what I did. I took this watch apart from the start. I took off the cheesy plastic black resin strap, which I don't even have with me anymore. I hate the strap that the MDV 106 comes with. Yes, it's serviceable. Yes, you can run it, but it makes me unhappy personally. And so I literally threw it in the garbage. And now I'm just running a solid color 22mm gray NATO strap on it. That's the first mod. Second mod, I took off the seconds hand and I painted it matte fluorescent orange. That's actually a layered paint job. And it's going to be much more contrasty against the black face. And more importantly, we're talking about an art piece here. Really, that's how I think of my watch modifications. I'm going for art. And in that art attempt, I want something that pops, that looks cleaner to me. And so what I did is I gave it a burst of color, the seconds hand. And you'll see this theme carry out through many of the watches that I paint. You almost can never go wrong with a fluorescent orange seconds hand. You'll see the two in the background wearing them. That's a program, Wegener, Attitude. That's EFM 100. We'll look at that in detail. But now it's something special to me. If you look at the stock configuration, the seconds hand kind of blended in. Small detail, perhaps, but it's huge actually. And we're detail people. You wouldn't be watching this video if you're not into details. The execution of the complications on a watch, very, very important. Some of the most important factors are how are the hands done. So I eliminated all the shininess of the hours hand, of the minutes hand, and now they are matte, not shiny white, and actually some lume will penetrate that paint job. That's my second one. So seconds hand, the other hands were done, and now I have a simple, don't ask me why, K decal on the watch face. Does it stand for okay? I don't know. It's the one that fit. It's the one that looked right. It gave it a complication to the face that was lacking. Although they do have the Marlin in here, which is actually pretty excellent. In the MDV 106, I love that. Casio logo at the top. The decal is not perfect. I don't care because it's a decal and it can be removed at any time. And it does adhere because I use a mixture of white glue and water when I adhere these. Pro tip from the Nut and Fancy watch shop. So it'll stay on there until I want to take it off. And this is what it looks like now. So with those modifications, I would say this watch is outstanding for me. And you dial in the watch show to get an opinion, and the opinion is this, I was not wearing the MDV 106 in its stock configuration. Definitely not with its regular strap. But even after I put the NATO on it, I found myself not wanting to wear it. I just did not like the hands how they came. Now, if you differ and you go, I love the hands as they come, I'm happy for you. That's easier, much easier to do than to program a watch because it's work and it always carries risk with it. You can completely ruin a watch trying to program it. Bend the hands, ruin any number of complications in the face. You can ruin the movement. Been there, done it. By the way, this has been scuba dove by myself, and it shows the wear and tear of the Pacific Ocean on the 316L stainless steel case, MDV 106. Signed by myself because it is a Nut and Fancy mod watch. That 108 is incorrect. It's actually a 106. And the module is $27.84, and there you go, my price, and the size and the weight, 3.2 ounces. Look at the cool Marlin on the case back. How's that for high value? $40 dive watch, and Casio gets it right. Screw-in case back, which is fantastic, and it should be. It's a dive watch. I mean, you wouldn't expect to see a pry-off one here. Screw-in crown, fantastic. Protected crown, fantastic. And we have a 120-click bezel here, which actually is kind of slick, I find, and that's another reason I'm wearing gloves right now. You really have to grasp it. I wish it had kind of better jimping on it on the 106, but it works. It's functional. It's not a ceramic bezel. It's just aluminum, probably just painted there for the price point that is to be expected. Look at the shape of it, how easy and low profile it is to wear. MDV 106 1 Alpha 1. Fantastic. Nice big spring bars that Casio provides with it. I have had no problems with that, even wearing a NATO strap. The markings on this are pretty good. They're not fantastic, but they're very dive watchy. And we kind of have a sunburst black effect going on here. We have a date in positive display, which is somewhat legible. Pretty good markings on the chapter ring. If it were up to me, I would enlarge the hands and enlarge the chapter ring so we have less of a small face syndrome. I've talked about that a lot. Let's look at the lume, kind of. I know. I taped the hands, or I painted the hands here, and so the lume's going to be very much diminished. I don't care, because like I said, and I'll say this in every WV I've modded, if it's sitting on the dresser and you ain't wearing it, who cares what the lume is, right? Right, nothing fancy, preach it, rant. There you go. So you kind of see the lume on that Minutes hand coming through, and that's on the paint, right? And I probably put more layers on the Hours hand, that's why it's dimmer. Decent lume. It's not super luminova. It's not to be expected. It's a $40 dive watch. It's gone up in price. I looked at the online today and it was like 50 bucks. So they just keep going up and up. And to their credit, they haven't discontinued this because they're too smart to do so. It keeps selling. This is what it looks like on my wrist. Oh, by the way, wearing another Casio product, a GA1100 KH. Oh my goodness, what an awesome watch this is. Needs no programming because it's pretty much perfect as it comes. OD, much more comfortable polymer strap with an extra keeper I outfitted on it. Super cool. I reviewed that, so go look up my review on the GA100, GA1100 series. This one actually is probably in my Gravity Master video, so that's a GA1100. It's a variation of the Gravity Master. Super cool. Okay, enough of that. And then we'll take a look on my wrist. 7.5 inches is my wrist. And I screw this up. I really love NATO straps, love Zulu straps. Maybe my most worn straps. They really are. They just breathe well, they're comfortable, they look great, they add a lot of personality to a watch. There you go. So I'm just laying it on here for speed. Awesome, look at that. So the 44 millimeter size for most of you guys will be just ideal. Not too big, not too small, 49 lug to lug. Really cool. 200 meter water resistance. Beautiful watch. That's MDV 106 1 Alpha 1. I love it. By the way, on the table we have a Applegate Fairbairn combat folder. Oh my goodness, is this an awesome knife. Sharpened on the top by myself. Look at that, dudes. That is mean. Shown in several videos over the years here in TMP. We're in year, what, 13 now? And notice that sharpened swedge tucks into the handle. So it's not a danger, in case you're wondering. Nice, non-lethal, less than lethal impact device in the closed position. If I find it, I'll put a link below. I love the Applegate Fairbairn. Double edge, it's so sick. I don't carry it, obviously. It's more of a cast member collectible for me. So I got the F6F Hellcat in a position of honor on the blue tablecloth. Man, do I love that playing. Great, especially that Matchbox 1/72 scale. It's just gorgeous. All right, next watch coming up. It's a 3-for-1. Remember, we talked about the 106. Here comes the MTD 1082 Delta-2 Alpha Victor. And this is in its pro, actually, let me show you its stock state first. Sorry. Hang on, I'll show you the modded state first, which I tell you, it just really transformed the watch. So this is the black version of the MTD 1082 Super Illuminator dive watch. Basically like the one I'm going to show you right now, but it's a black face, and this one came with a rubber strap. And the strap that came on mine is a bracelet, and I'll show you that. Okay, so let's look at that. Actually, I want to show you both so you can see a side-to-side comparison. Good idea, Nutton. Show us side-to-side. Okay, here you go, dude. Ta-da! Programmed. Boom. All right, what's different? Well, first, this one looks huge because it's on the phone, right? It looks ginormous, but they're the same size. We're looking at, on this watch, 44, so it's the same as the 106, 44 millimeters wide, 13 millimeters in thickness, 50 millimeters lug to lug. So these are the same size. Maybe if I do that, there you go, I'll just offset a little bit. I like the blue version better. The black is cool too. What has changed is the seconds hand, again, is that fluorescent orange. I do a lot of those, and now the hands are solid white, which in my opinion is 200% better. Again, solid white is fantastic. This is one of my earlier taping jobs, so these weren't painted, these were taped, and I don't think I did a perfect job on it, but I'm going to leave it because it's historical. It shows my skill level at the time. I'm better now than I was then. You know, now I'm 100 watches later doing it. So taking them apart and modifying them. So there you go. So the stock one has the hollow hands. I'll show you footage of either scuba diving or boating with the Casio MTD 1082 Super Illuminator, and you'll see it in a stock configuration to look just like this one. So we have the shiny hand thing going on there, which I don't like, and then they're hollow too. Don't like that either. And speaking from my own experience, I was not wearing the watch. I couldn't do it. It just was not connecting to me. Now I grab for it. It's like, oh man, I want to wear the 1082 after the mod. Okay, so that's basically what I did to this watch on these two things. And this has a blue face on it, sunburst blue. We have a registration from 0 to 20-minute mark on the inner chapter ring, red. You can see that, pretty cool. We have a legible date here, as usual, getting covered up by hand as I'm getting to that portion. That's standard for any watch review I ever do. Always. Water resistance is not 200 like the 106, is 100 meters, as if you'll ever go that deep. You won't. It is a smaller watch to me. I think the 1082 seems pretty small when I wear it, even though dimensionally it's very similar to this one. So this is a 44 millimeter, this is a 44 millimeter, and I'm not going to waste time measuring the face. I don't think most of y'all care anyhow. It seems more compact, more Seiko-y, if that makes sense. Seiko is notorious for that. So they have big cases, little tiny faces. Yeah, it just rhymed. Pretty cool. This is not the strap that came on it on the MTD 1082. This is actually off a deep blue Master 1000. It's a beautiful isoframe polymer strap, which breathes well, completely synthetic, very adjustable. It just really connected to this watch. It set it off so nicely. Here's the case back, which is boring. Nothing there. No marlins, no sharks, no octopuses. That's sad. That's what price we paid. $67 in the day. I think I got this in 2016 as well. And I didn't even sign this yet. It's before I was signing it. So I need to go back and sign it. And I don't think I'm going to redo that handset. I just like it the way it is. It's not perfect. I mean, there's like a little nib on the end of it. It's whatever. Some scratching from use. Standards 316L. No screw-in crown here on the 1082. Maybe one reason it's rated for only 100 meters. Only 100 meters instead of 200 meters. This is your illuminator button. We'll look at that here in a second. That looks really good though. Sunburst blue, nothing fancy watch mod, isoframe strap. Dang, that's a great looking dive watch. Really good looking. Let me show you the bracelet, which actually came on this MTD 1082. I keep it in a plastic bag, labeled accordingly, only 67 bucks. Pretty good for all that you get, to include this adequate quality stainless steel bracelet. Hollow links, which I prefer. Contrary to every other watch reviewer out there, they always want solid links. I want a heavy bracelet. I'm completely the opposite. If I do run a bracelet, I want it to be as light as possible. That means the links are going to be hollow. Much preferred. We kind of have a contrasting finish on this bracelet. On this version of the MTD 1082, the one I showed you here in a screenshot, that has a rubber strap with it. So I don't even know if they're still doing this. So if you like stainless steel bracelets, look around. You might be able to find one with it. Doesn't add too much weight to the watch because it is hollow, of course. There's your adjustment right there. There is no scuba suit extension on this. When I dove it, I just used a NATO strap in the day. And that was about 2 years ago I did that. Decent quality. Why isn't it on there, nothing? I'm not a super fan of stainless steel straps. You're going to see our bracelets. You're going to see on the EFM 100 in the background. I kept that one on. I don't mind it. I won't say I won't put it back on though, because as far as stainless steel straps go, it's pretty cool. I like it. So right now it's Zulus, NATOs, some silicone straps, and that's what this is. Sorry, I called it polymer. It's actually silicone. And like this one, here we go, a leather NATO on this one. This is what makes me happy, this kind of stuff. It may go back on there, but it's decent quality. Now to the bezel, real quick, the MTD 1082, and this feature length 3-for-1 WRV. 120 click, relatively positive. A little bit better than an MDV 106 as far as glove use goes. Notice you have some raised knobs on the bezel. I didn't notice any sand getting in it, and it has been reliable. It has not failed on me. I have a screen protector on this mineral glass, same on the 106. All of them are that way. All of them. Nice markings here. We've got 12, 9, 6 standard scuba markings on the inside. It's pretty sick. Oh yeah, the illumination. This is a big selling point on this watch. Big selling point. So it's basically like Indiglow. So I didn't even charge that up yet. That's just like residual illumination. And then you press this, look, on the 1082. Isn't that beautiful? It looks like jewelry when you light it up. I mean, that is just fantastic illumination. Hence the name 1082 Super Illuminator Dive Watch. Dive Watch. Taking it apart and working on it, by the way, was relatively simple. I got pretty tight hand clearance on it as a programmer, which means I have to be super careful in clearances. I did have an interference on the seconds hand after I got done. I don't recommend you do it unless you're willing to ruin the watch because it can happen. Next up, Casio Edifice. So this is kind of their higher end line. This is an EFM 100D 1 Alpha 4 Victor. I paid $126 for this in the day, which again was about 2016 and has been programmed. Same thing. Nothing fancy. What's up? What's up is what I told you, is I just found myself not wearing the watch because I didn't like the hands. These hands are not horrible, and I think, yeah, I just taped these hands so I can restore it to standard configuration, no problem. And it just makes me happier. Solid white monochromatic hands, insert standard discussion, fluorescent orange seconds hand, thematically tying in with the orange 120 click bezel. This one, by the way, is going to be a little bit bigger. The EFM 100 is going to be 45 millimeters this size, 13 millimeters in thickness on the signed my signature 316L case. All these watches are shown wear and tear over 3 years of use. This is not like just out of the box review. 48 millimeters on the downturned lugs. All three of these watches, I think, will fit 6.5 inch to 6 3/4 inch wrists if you have a more narrow wrist profile. Love the orange bezel on this. It probably comes in other colorations as well, but that ties in thematically with it. Good traction on the 120 click bezel on the Casio EFM 100D. Love that orange bezel, pretty cool. Raised protrusions right there, providing some traction, some purchase. Not amazing traction for two reasons. It's not coin edged, or I should say serrated to a sharp degree, and it's also very low profile. Notice this, it's only, what I say, 13 millimeters in thickness. That's pretty narrow. I'll take it. I don't really consider this to be a hardcore dive watch, even though, check this out, it's rated at 200 meters. That's pretty decent. Screw-in crown right here, crown protected. Screw-in case back, of course. Look at the bracelet here in a second. There's a look at the back, signed because it is modded. So that's pretty good water resistance, and I dove it, I think, to about 30 feet is all. That's not really a radical dive test. I'm not saying it is, but at least it went into salt water and I came out and I didn't see any damage on this watch. I didn't. And I have. This one specifically comes to mind. I took this Wegener apart to program it, and there was rust on the stem. It had penetrated, and this is supposedly a 200 meter, not dive watch, but just 200 meter rated. I rescued it. I was able to get that corrosion off of it, and it's still ticking. Ronda quartz movement, still going, still love the watch. Non-screw down crown. It's a field watch, so it's not a dive watch. This one is more divey. You could dive with it if you want. Casio Edifice EFM 100D, what a great watch. And surprisingly, despite everything I just told you, I did leave the stainless steel bracelet on this particular watch. Don't know why, I just thought it looked really good with it. Brushed stainless steel, hollow links, thank you, I prefer that. We save some weight. It is 5.2 ounces as adjusted to fit my wrist, so I did take some links out. Relatively easy process to do. Don't lose them tiny little parts that are inside of there. Standard clasp, doesn't release accidentally. No diver extension on this 200 meter rated dive watch by Casio. I actually like the strap. And no hot points either, i.e. grabbing hair, digging into my skin. It's actually profiled nicely. So it's polished on the side, satin brushed on the main links here on the EFM 100D. It's nice. And I don't know how long I'll run that, but it's nice to have a stainless steel bracelet on some of the watches. Yeah, I know what I said. I'll stick with that. I really don't like them, but occasionally I'll wear them. Here's one reason I don't though. Okay, you asked. You're wondering why. Because your wrist expands and contracts all the time. And it seems like your stainless steel bracelets just don't fit that great. Either they're super loose on you after you've sized them, or they get super tight on you as your wrist swells. Seems like a silicone strap, a nylon strap will adapt and breathe more readily than a stainless steel bracelet. There you go, rant complete. I don't hate them, but I generally don't wear them that much. Let's look at the complications super quick before we wrap it up on this 3-for-1 Casio watch review. I love the day-date complication. I think I mentioned that already. Very legible, very big in this Edifice EFM 100. Fantastic. Wave pattern on what looks to be a solar face. Psych, not solar. It takes an SR926 battery and I just replaced it. Nice lettering here at the top. Casio Edifice. I love multiple colors. It just adds so much. I didn't put a decal here because it's a wave face, and also it's a very compact face. Yes, it suffers from the small face syndrome thanks to the silver inner chapter ring, showing the 5, 10, 15, 20 minute ranges, and there's no Arabic numerals in this one. Yes, and I think we saw the lume already on this one, which is going to be about like the other ones. There you go. Each one of these watches, for the money you're going to spend on them, just fantastic. They're awesome. Every Casio analog dive watch that they make that I've seen to this date, thumbs up, dude. I mean, for the money you're spending, it doesn't mean it's my favorite dive watch, not by a mile. I mean, if you're asking me what some of my favorite dive watches are, then I would include the Deep Blue Master 1000. Here's a program, nothing fancy one. So I went bi-tone colors on this. That is actually painted hands on this one, and I have the lucky number 7 decal in there. I left the seconds hand as it came. This is a black coated Master 1000 by Deep Blue, one of my all-time favorite micro brands. Just a fantastic diver. There's a Straps Co. blue on here. How gorgeous is that? Just a beautiful leather strap. So if you're asking me which one would give me more happiness wearing, this one would. Because it's bigger, has to me, kind of a bigger face. Not by a lot. I'm not saying a lot, but if you're asking, I'm telling you. There you go. How about the old reviewed, now programmed, you haven't seen this, Wegener C-Force. Programmed. Thank you. Programmed. The hands are like 273% better than they were. They had partial shininess on them. It's the same thing that I've been showing you. I know. Dude, those hands freaking pop now. Look at that. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Signed, nothing fancy, mod watch. This is a Wegener Generation 1 C-Force. I did not sign the side of the case. This one's been dove by me. This is more of a desk diver though. It's not like, you know, hardcore, even though it does have a screw down crown. It's a great watch, great competitive option. The new C-Forces are actually very cool. I saw one in Costco for like 150 bucks though. The price will come down, just keep watching it. Here's another Wegener Ronda Quartz movement. This is a Roadster Black Knight version programmed. I know. I told you every watch I'm going to show you is programmed pretty much from here on out. When I review this, I'll show you what it looked like in a standard configuration. The hands, I ran it through my app, are actually 4,155% better I know, it's crazy. It's a cool app. Nice bezel. This is actually kind of a dye field watch. The Wegener Roadster. Ronda Quartz movements as a programmer are very hard to work with. You can short them out easily, but if you just freaking touch the coil. Not hard to do in as far as mechanics go, taking the watch apart, taking the hands off, but very tight clearances on the hands. All three of these were easier to work with than this. Case back here. Did I sign the side? No, because it has a black coated. Maybe I'll sign it later. And this has a Cordura olive drab strap on it. And I'm going to wrap it up. We're at feature length already for a watch review. Woo! All three of them are awesome. The MDV 106, MTD 1082 Super Illuminator. What illumination that is. The FM 100 Casio Edifice. All of them will make you happy. They are supremely water resistant. Proven over years of use here in the Nut and Fancy project. They are cast members and very beloved. This is what defines value right here. Casio analog. And they're even better when they're modded. Nut and Fancy. Thanks for joining TNP Patreon, keeping the project going. I appreciate you guys. You are my friends. A lot more content in production right now.